some of the stuff a little on the heavy side, but a lot of you are emailing, and I know it is probably the topic of the day, and that is the ruling on the George Zimmerman trial, and he was acquitted of all charges. And some people think that's based on the evidence. I know that's a bizarre concept because sometimes we've seen evidence be mounted that the ruling went another way. It is interesting that if I get the ruling the way I want to, I say, well, no matter what the evidence might have looked like, the jury had to make their own decision, a la OJ. But now when the evidence clears someone, now we're saying that that's the wrong rule. We got to get consistent on this. Do we say the jury has the ultimate say and evidence doesn't matter, or does it matter? Because evidence didn't matter in the OJ trial, but magically, when evidence seems to be the thing that cleared Zimmerman, now we're saying the jury didn't do a good job. I'm very confused.
Well, here's the thing. He was acquitted on second-degree murder, and the jury did not decide to reduce a guilty verdict to manslaughter. In other words, they could have come back and said, we find him guilty of manslaughter, but not second-degree murder. They acquitted him all the way around. It was 6 females. And the thing that really sticks out in this case, because I don't think anybody, if they're honest, who are commenting on this, sit and watch this trial from start to finish.
Exactly. No.
None of us really know, other than the sound bites that we see or secondhand information. But as I started reading some of the legal eagles who were following this case from sign-on to sign-off every day, last week they started saying he's going to walk. They have not proven the charges.
Right.
So I would say out of 10 different legal eagles, I looked at their comments on the trial, 9 of them probably said he was going to walk because they just did not prove a case. And, you know, when you get down to the very specifics of what murder 2 or manslaughter would be, it didn't meet that criteria, what was proven in court. And really it got down to something this simple. Was Trayvon Martin on top of him beating his head on the ground? If he was, then you're in a situation under Florida, under stand your ground, that Zimmerman is legal to use deadly force to stop that because he could be killed in that altercation. If Zimmerman was on top of Trayvon, then you may have a situation where he used deadly force out of the context of what it is allowed under Florida law. So, you know, at the heart of this, you do have parents who have lost a child. I feel terribly for them. But, again, you have a situation where when all of it came down, the burden of proof was on the prosecution. Now, you remember when this first happened, Zimmerman was not charged. I don't remember if it was the prosecutor for that county or the sheriff or whoever. They didn't even arrest him until there was all of this national pressure, a lot of it brought on by the NAACP.
Which I don't understand, since the parents of the child, which they should have the say that not everybody else, they said, we want overzealous people with guns to be charged. There's nothing racial about this case. Nothing.
Well,
so I don't know why everybody won't listen to them. If they don't think it's racially motivated, why does anybody else?
Once the pressure began on the national level, the politicians, you may remember, wanted Zimmerman charged.
Right.
The local people who were there, who have kept the law in that county for years and years, wasn't going to charge him. They did not feel like there was enough evidence to get a conviction. That's how you decide if you prosecute somebody. So that guy was fired because he would not bring charges. And then they put in another guy who was handpicked and said, hey, I'll charge him. So it already started with a cloud of, is there enough evidence here to even proceed with this? So, again, I wasn't in the courtroom. None of us were in the courtroom. And 90% of the people who are commenting on it that you see on the news were not in the courtroom. We have to just go by what somebody else says. But the people, again, that I saw that watched this said they just did not make their case. So when they have not made their case beyond reasonable doubt, they have to come back with an acquittal, and that's what happened.
To me, the thing that I don't understand is because here's what all the emotional groups in our country wanted. They wanted a crazy conservative white man with a gun. That's what they wanted. And they couldn't quite get it. First of all, you have to start with the fact that I understand that there's only really three races of people. There's Caucasian, there's Asian, and there's African. So really, everybody falls into those three categories. I get that. But what we call a white guy, because if that's true, then Hispanics should always be linked with white people, and they never are.
They're right.
They're called, matter of fact, a new minority group that is growing in our country, correct?
Yes.
Well, if you're a minority group, that means you're not with the white folks, correct? Well, so then he's not white, so let's clear that up. And Trayvon's family made that point, but no one's listening because we want him to be white. So we started calling him what? A white Latino or white Hispanic.
That was the term
right.
I heard on CNN over the weekend. I was seeing what their response was to it, and I didn't know that was a term we use now.
Well,
I guess by that definition, you also have black Hispanics.
Yeah, if Hispanics are white, then they're not a minority group. Okay, in this country. Okay, I mean, so but we don't treat it that way. But now we're going to, which I find. And I know why, because we gotta paint our little cartoon fantasy show the way we want it. We all live like TV is reality now, so we just create scenarios like it's a story, with, like Bubba said, with conveniently ignoring the actual facts of what was going on here. And we'll come back and we'll talk about it. We laughed and joked about the girl that was on the phone with Trayvon and her comments about a cracker, and that was a funny deal. But I think that haunted the prosecution, because she's establishing the only guy that seems to be worried about whether they think the race is Trayvon. And we'll talk about that when we come back.
Rick and Bubba.
We'll go a couple of segments, phone calls on the George Zimmerman ruling over the weekend. We've discussed it a little bit. Some other interesting things we'll touch on, but let's get to some phones now, and let's hear from you. Homewood, Alabama, 104.7 WZZK. Stephanie is standing by. Stephanie, welcome to the Rick and Bubba Show. How are you?
Hey, I'm great this morning. I want to say hey to my ex-Ford stars, miss you guys, but I will get to my part about the case. First of all, Greg, you had mentioned the statement that Trayvon should have gone straight to his family's house. That is true, but also, I don't know if anybody knew this, but Zimmerman had called the police to report that he was in the neighborhood, and the police said, do not go down there, do not get near
I
it,
agree.
we're coming.
Yeah, he should have never went down there, never.
So he went in there, he got in the car, got his gun, went down there, so there's both sides to that.
But that's not against the law.
Either one of them didn't break the law. We were just saying maybe a little communication, maybe just, do something. If either one of those people would have done something different, this guy wouldn't be dead.
Me following someone through my neighborhood where the police says you shouldn't do it, that's not criminal.
I mean, I don't.
No.
He shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. I agree, but they both could have done something different. And then I wanted to mention my husband is a local attorney, been an attorney for about 30 years, and we've been discussing this off and on. And people are so up in arms about it. But you know what? These kind of situations happen very often, and we've jumped on this one case and gone crazy for. What, there were killings in Bessemer, 4 or 5 in 1 week about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
You don't hear about that.
Let me check.
Or how about this? And Greg had brought it up during the break. Will they be outraged over the Nolan Lloyd killing? And is that how you say his name?
Odin Lloyd, the man killed by Aaron Hernandez. If Aaron Hernandez, because again, now he'll have his day in court, and if there's not enough evidence to convict him, he shouldn't be
allegedly killed by.
But a public opinion will think that Aaron Hernandez is guilty. If he gets acquitted, will we hear uproar? No, we won't hear nothing.
Yeah, where are all the celebrities supporting the family of Odin Lloyd? Odin Lloyd was killed execution style by somebody, and the person being accused for that is Aaron Hernandez. Number one, is Aaron Hernandez white? Because we say George Zimmerman is now. By the way, we just found out his grandfather's African-American, by the way, which that's a tough case. So Aaron Hernandez, is he George Zimmerman, or and he execution style killed an African-American? Where's the racial vein in this? Well, there isn't one, and there really shouldn't be. But there shouldn't be one in the Zimmerman case either.
But why?
Well, Rick, there's a big difference. I mean, this other was a discussion about self-defense, stand your ground.
Right.
Hey, Odin Lloyd was executed. Hands behind him, knees on the ground, shot from behind, what I understand.
Right. Jamie Foxx, are you going to go sit with Odin's family?
Probably not.
Where Al Sharpton, why is Odin's family not heard from you?
And this Carlos Ortiz, who is turned state's evidence. One of the guys who was there. Now, again, he's probably trying to save himself. I don't know what his credibility is or not, but they've interviewed people from his neighborhood. Now, this is the deal. They're just saying that he's a snitch. He better not come back there. They're not even saying they think that Hernandez is innocent. They're mad because Ortiz is telling on him.
Right.
They made the statement, that's Aaron Hernandez. This is lady lived there. You tell the police you know nothing.
The Pouncey. Don't forget the Pouncey brothers, who, by the way, are African American. They're wearing a hat that says "Free Hernandez." Okay, but he execution style is accused of killing an African American. Now, why is George Zimmerman this evil force out to get black people, but Hernandez isn't? So y'all can't even we can't follow all this because it's all based on emotion, and you're picking and choosing. Hernandez is a big-time celebrity, so he gets a pass. Zimmerman's just a guy that's a neighborhood watch guy that everybody says is overzealous, so now he's a racist out to kill black people. Hernandez, who execution-style shot somebody in the back of the head, allegedly. Now, Zimmerman was alleged as well. There was no scuffle. There was no whatever. He took him off in the parking lot, killed him. Everybody said he showed no remorse whatsoever. That man was black. Where's his support? Where's his family support?
What they're doing now, what they're saying is the problem and where the racial comes in, that he profiled him because he was African American, the way he was dressed. They say that he was profiled because of that. That's the argument.
Zimmerman. Yeah.
Zimmerman, back to that one.
Well, the problem is that Zimmerman had been doing that. I mean, he's if you want to say overzealous neighborhood watch guy, fine. He's not a racist. There was nothing racial about this. And how about this? The jury said he probably wouldn't have shot the kid if the kid hadn't tried to bang his head into the concrete. If the kid had just simply gone where he was going, or like you said, called the police, said, "Hey, some guys follow me," or just turned around and said, "Hey, why are you following me?" Based on the absolute testimony of two people. The girl on the phone said he referred to Zimmerman as what he thought was a white guy, and he made a racial slur against white people.
Which she said it wasn't.
Which she said was not a racial slur. I know how I like to be called that. And then over here on the other side, we have a neighbor that said, "I saw Trayvon banging Zimmerman's head on the concrete. Zimmerman's head had all kinds of abrasions and stuff on it, and Zimmerman shot him as he was getting his head beat down at close range. One bullet. He didn't fire multiple times." And so the jury said, you know what? We think that George Zimmerman, under Florida law, was defending himself. That's the case. Everything else can be bad behavior. You may not like it. All the other stuff, there's no criminal charge about being a guy who's kind of creepy that follows people and thinks he's Barney Fife. There's no law against that. That's not criminal. So the criminal part was somebody got shot. So now let's have a case about how he got shot. And that's what the case was about.
It come down to who attacked who. If Zimmerman attacked him, then it was murder. If Trayvon Martin attacked Zimmerman, it was self-defense. That's what the case came down to.
All the rest of this stuff has nothing to do with criminal charges.
Could it have been avoided if both of them would have done something different? Absolutely. And I'm sure Zimmerman probably wishes he had.
Well, yeah, this thing of, that Zimmerman doesn't care and he's out to kill black people is just crazy. You can look at the guy and tell that even when he was telling it right after, he was freaked out by the fact that the guy ended up being shot dead. Yeah. I mean, and he'll, like Speedy said, he'll live with that the rest of his life too. He's not getting away with anything.
Yeah, and I think Zimmerman's brother put out a statement to somebody where he said, look, they said, well, how does it feel that you won? And he said, hey, we didn't win. There is no winner in this.
There's not.
No, nobody won.
No winner in that. Zimmerman's life is destroyed. He'll never be able to live any kind of normal life. Always looking over his shoulder. Obviously, the Martin family has been destroyed by this too. So there is no winner.